Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are all having a fantastic day. Today's upload is going to be a video on who will see a snowy October. I'll try answering that question, and I do understand that not all locations across the United States see snow during October. However, October still brings some snow to the northern plains, and a lot of people actually witness their first snow in October. So I will be doing this for November, December, and January, and maybe February or March, depending on how I feel. But definitely for November and December. So stay tuned for those videos. And before we get further into this, Before we get further into this video, consider subscribing to this channel. Consider liking this video. If you're an old returning member, or I should say viewer, but you're not a member yet, then consider subscribing. It helps out a lot. I say this in every video. Just something to keep in the back of your mind. If you are a new viewer, this is your first video, you're watching this video, first time watching this channel, on this channel, check out this channel, check out my other videos, and then you could consider subscribing if you really want to. So, now if you already saw I clicked forward on accident, we'll be looking first at the ENSO. So ENSO in neutral is favored through August through October 2018, with an El Nino favored thereafter. So October is still in that neutral phase, and as we see, September, October, November, because that's when October's in the middle, so that's what it's most centered on. You can see we have a 45% chance of a neutral ENCO or an ENSO, and we have around a 50% chance for an El Nino. And there are some differences with that, but at this point, I'll just go with the fact that, because at this point, it doesn't seem like the El Nino will take shape necessarily, so it's more fair to treat it as a neutral El Nino or a neutral ENSO. If you were to look at the sea surface temperatures, which is how an El Nino forms in the first place, and El Nino is marked by much above average conditions across this part of the ocean. And yes, right now they are above average, but they're not enough above average to be considered an El Nino. They're still in that neutral phase right now. So we are still in a neutral phase, and based on how this El Nino was supposed to be developing already earlier on in the summer, it doesn't seem like things will be developing much quicker anytime soon. So an ENSO neutral is still most likely favored. And an ENSO neutral winter pattern, well, October technically isn't winter, so we'll need to go a little bit deeper into that. But I just want to show you that the ENCO neutral, if it were to happen, and an El Nino were not to be formed, which I doubt it, I think an El Nino will form. You can see cold across the northeastern part of the United States, and wet and warm across the south, with big storms across the east coast when these two things combine. But again, like I was saying, October isn't necessarily winter, even if this does include October into it, because there is no technically winter. Technically, winter starts in December, but it doesn't really show that either. So I wanted to first look at previous years that were neutral in October. So September, October, November, you could see 2008, 2012, 2013, and 2014. All those years were neutral years for the month of October. Now, this doesn't give us anything in terms of how they looked like. It just gives us the years in the past that were neutral in October. So what I did, using my data in this one website, I compiled the years October for the month of October 2008, 2012, 2013, 2014, basically what I just showed you here. And this is what it came out to in terms of the surface air temperatures based on average for the past 30 years. You can see that basically warm across much of the country. Maybe southeast and central part of the country is around average, but much of the country is above average, especially the northeastern fringes, northwestern parts, and the southwestern parts. However, again, just because we have these compiled into this doesn't mean our October this year will be like this. It just gives us kind of a general idea of a neutral October looks something like this. So let's go off of this and create a outlook for this year's October, kind of something along those lines. So we also need to look at, since this is in terms of snow, we need to look at the precip anomaly. And for those years, the same years, October 2008, 2012, 2013, 2014, you can see there, this isn't really a well shown map, but if I were to draw this out, which I won't, if I were to draw this out, then what we would be looking at basically is a below average or above average precip for this area right in through here, and below average for the south. So basically the northeastern part, so anywhere east of the Rockies and north of this considered south line. I don't know what you want to call that, but in this general area, above average precip, and this area below average precip. So again, you can see some, nothing really cold across these northern states, so that wouldn't necessarily produce more snow, even if it was above average precip, because warm conditions plus above average precip in October don't really mean snow, not at all. However, again, like I was showing, this is just data, this is just averages, this just kind of gives us a background on what to expect, so we can't really take it as our outlook. So what I would really like to look at is the NOAA's outlook and see what they have to say. So this is obviously for the month of October 2018. This is the 1 month outlook, temperature probability, and again, is NOAA 100% right on their forecasts? No, they are not. NOAA obviously has their own flaws, but they are fairly accurate in terms of predicting these seasonal outlooks, at least a half month out. I wouldn't really trust them with a seasonal outlook for anything 2 months in advance, but half a month out is they're usually pretty spot on. So you can see they have above average for the west, above average for the southeast, and in the central part of the country, in this white, that is equal chances for being above or below average, and in this blue, it is basically below average. So do I think they overdid it on the oranges here on the above average in the west? I do think so. I think it'll be cooler actually than average for some parts of this west, at least for the first half of the month. While I think they underdid it on the blues across the north. I think it'll be fairly chilly, fairly cold, and possibly even fairly snowy across these states here, because it's going to be below average marked with above average precip most likely at this point, due to the based on the previous Octobers. And to tell you, if I were to show you this same map, outlook probability for the month of October in terms of precip, much of the state would be in green, because it's going to be you saw my video today, it's going to be a very rainy October, gloomy, plenty of precip. So as long as the cold air is there, we could make some snow out of this. So now, for my final outlook, drumroll please. This is what I think it'll look like. So again, you may be wondering, whoa, why aren't the mountains highlighted? Why isn't more area even in the colors? Well, first off, many locations for October don't see a lot of snow here, and you may be wondering why I didn't include here the colors in the mountains. Well, again, the mountains are very elevated, and where you see typically snow in October in the mountains, you probably will see it this year. It's not going to be that drastic in the west, where it's going to be completely above average. So again, the mountains are at such specific points, such specific locations, I don't really want to highlight each one out. So if you live in the mountains and you typically see snow in October, you probably will see snow in October. There's no drastic change that will happen this year. Maybe a little bit later behind schedule. If you see it in the first 10 days of October, maybe you'll see it in the last 10 days or last 15 days. But if you live in the mountainous west and you typically see snow in October, my point is this year is probably no different, and you'll probably see snow. Now, for the areas that are in the colors, the northern plains, this pink is basically indicating, okay, you will see snow, and this pink is showing that you'll see the snowfall more early on, and I think there'll be more of it due to the fact that there'll be some cold conditions from you even saw NOAA's outlook predicting equal chances, which I think they underdid it, but you'll have cooler conditions with above average precip, which could lead to snow showers, even a couple of inches of snow in some locations, even some measurable decent amount of snow. In those areas, I think it'll be above average, including northern Maine. Now in the purples, it is also indicating, okay, you will see some snow. However, it should be maybe a little bit above average, maybe a little bit more snow, maybe a little bit earlier on, but nothing too major. I don't think it'll be as remarkable as or it won't be, hugely remarkable. Now, for the locations in this light blue, this basically shows, okay, you probably will see snow. The problem is, it may not be above or, above, it may not be, or maybe a little bit behind schedule and maybe a little bit less than usual. But a lot of these areas don't really see measurable snow in October. They just see a trace or a dusting, something along those lines. So I think those areas in the blues is just going to be indicating where you could see some snow. And again, the mountains I did not include. I need to stress this enough because people are going to be asking in the comment section. Mountains I did not include due to the fact that where you see snow in the mountains, usually you'll see it this year. And Alaska's in a yellow just because that's the only state where they will see snow for sure, except it'll be much less than average and much less quantity, and much later if you're seeing your first snow in October in Alaska. You can see, based on this outlook, Alaska's going to be insanely above average, so those conditions are going to lead to below average temperatures across Alaska. So hopefully you enjoyed, hopefully you went satisfied with this video, hopefully you learned something new. Please consider subscribing to my channel, please consider liking the video, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next episode.